Now, this part of the journey, hands down, my most favorite part to share, by far the most favorite part that we experienced. You want to hear this. Stay tuned. Now, while we were facing 3, potentially 4 foreclosures, y'all, guess what happened? We received an envelope in the mail. Didn't look like it came from any legitimate bank, especially our bank. It was just very random. Matter of fact, it sat on at my front door for days. I didn't even know it was there. We were getting ready to leave town for, I believe, Father's Day. We were getting ready to leave town, and I got a call from the bank saying, hey, we just want to make sure, confirm that you received the overnight letter that we sent. We hadn't gotten a response. I'm like, no, I haven't received anything. I checked the mail. It's like, well, it may not have been in your mailbox. Probably been left at your front door. And I was like, well, what is this letter? It's like, well, we sent information about a loan modification, and we hadn't gotten a response. And I was like, well, I haven't applied for one. At least I hadn't applied for one recently, because all the ones we had applied for leading up to this were rejected every time. Y'all, at this time also, let me state this. We had jobs. We have jobs. Thank God we still have them, that are very concerned about the hardships, financial hardships of its employees. So much so that we are required to report when we are having a financial hardship. Now, who wants to do that? Right? But that's what we signed up for. That's what our job requires. Won't get into that. But it could have affected our employment. Now, we already have all this debt that we trying to pay off. And then how does not having a job help in that process, right? It doesn't. Anyway, so I was like, well, I haven't applied for a modification. And it was like, oh, no, it's nothing you applied for. But let us know if you received it. If not, because it's time sensitive, we'll resend it. So I get home, check the front door. Sure enough, there's a letter there, just dusty. It's been out there for a minute. I get it, I open it, and I could not believe my eyes. In summary, it said, here's the loan modification that we're offering. I'm going to tell you what it said in a moment. But basically it says, if you accept this offer, sign it and have it sent back to us by this date. Now, I said we were going out of town. So if I had not seen it, by the time I got back, it would have expired. Don't know what would have happened. Don't want to know what would have happened. But we took the envelope. We took it with us out of town. We read it. We kept reading it. We kept trying to figure out, well, and then here's something else. When I spoke with someone, they told me, don't call the main number, but call them back. And I'm like, see, now you're not sounding right. Like, how come I can't call the main number? If this was sent on their behalf, then why can't I call them? And it was like, well, because this is a different department and they, may not. I said, okay. So guess what I did? I hung up and I called the main number because I don't play. I called and I told them what had happened, what I received, and they were telling me not to call the main number because you guys, aren't the ones, your department is not the one who sent it. I said, but I'm calling you anyway because I need to verify. And they verified, right? So I ended up calling back the department that called me. And so, y'all, let me tell you. When I think about it, it's still, because it happened, it's believable. But at the moment, I'm like, no way. Like, something's just not right. I couldn't put my finger on it, but it just, I was like, we didn't apply for this. Like, we had given up applying for loan modifications because they all said the same thing, that they would not help us unless we were in default, unless we had missed so many payments. But here's the thing. We could not pay in good conscience because we were able to, right? Those types of programs and things were for people who couldn't. And for us telling them that we couldn't would be lying. It would not be ethical. And those, have I always done everything right? No, I've grown up. We've grown up a little bit. But at this point in our life, we were conscious and we were determined to do the right thing. Period. So, here's what happened. We read through the paperwork and we were like, come on now. Like, this is better for the stuff that we've been applying for. Like, how you just gonna offer this to us? Like, how you gonna do what? Y'all, we had a 40-year mortgage. We had been paying on that 40-year mortgage for about almost 5 years. We had 35 years left, okay? This loan modification said, number one, 25 years of those terms, gone. Don't even worry about it, okay? Second thing. The second thing was that they forgave $92,000 of the remaining balance, which left us with $160-ish thousand on a home that we originally bought for quite a bit more than that. Y'all don't need to know no more numbers. That's my business. But just to give you an idea. And then the third thing was that the payment was going to stay the same. Now, the payment wasn't the problem, right? The problem was that payment was going to change a little bit down the line. And we didn't want to do that, right? But we were planning, okay, we're going to refinance, but the house value was so low that we couldn't refinance to get, it was just a lot of things that seemed impossible. So the payment stayed the same, fine. We didn't have a problem making the current payment, and the rate was going to now be fixed. So we went from a 40-year mortgage with an adjustable rate that was going to change to God knows what in the next couple years to a 25 years gone. So it started with 40. We had already paid 5 years of it, and then 25 of it was knocked off. How much does that leave? 10 years left. Tell me that wasn't no miracle. Didn't apply for it. Kept getting rejected. Really gave up. Got a letter. Didn't know it was there. Didn't believe the people when they called us and told us what it was about. But when we confirmed everything multiple times, y'all, we couldn't sign them papers fast enough. And even when we signed them and sent them back, we were like, let's just wait and see if this payment, let's just wait for this next statement to see if it reflects the new balance, to see if it reflects the new terms. And it did, y'all. That was a miracle. And when we shared after, everything's done, right? When we shared this with people, they didn't believe it. They was like, they had never heard that. And maybe you listening to this can say, that happened? Like people were doing that. Maybe you were a homeowner around that time and, went through some of those things that I explained about the loan modification process and trying to get help and getting denied. But please let me know in the comments. Please let me know in the comments. Have you heard of that happening to anyone? I believe that it could have. But you know what? As often as I share this story, no one has ever heard that happen. But I believe that there could be more out there, and I'd like to know. Anyway, I think that's enough for this part because I want to share it because I want people to know that you can do the right thing and be blessed and be rewarded for it, even when you see others not doing the right thing and it appears that they are getting away with something, or it appears that that they don't care. You do the right thing. You do what your heart is convicting you to do. Don't judge others, but you do the right thing. You choose to do the right thing. And when you do that, the right things will happen for you. I believe that with all my heart. Again, you can see now why this is my most favorite part of the story to share. And when I talk about it, this is probably one of the first times I've talked about it and didn't get like emotional. But I feel something bubbling up right now. But it was truly a miracle, and we did not waste that miracle. God did not waste that miracle on us because we never looked back. We never allowed ourselves to get back in that position again. And we made a promise to God and to ourselves that moving forward, we would be better stewards as best as we know how, that we would continue to try to learn and to share, not just the testimony, right? Because testimony, especially when it's not yours, we would be real honest. Hearing other people's testimonies is good. It's exciting, but you don't feel what they feel, right? You don't feel what they feel because you don't know, you didn't understand, or you didn't have you may have been through something similar, but you didn't know the pressure and the burden that they were feeling, that they were carrying, right? And so I love to share the testimony because I believe it encourages and empowers others to do the right thing, right? But also, there was work still left to be done. Still left to be done. We weren't debt free. That was just a part of the wait. That was a reward for, I believe, our choosing to do the right thing. Now, we know the banks didn't care about us, right? They want their money. If we didn't give it to them, they was going to come take the house. And that's what they did with 3 of them, right? They proved that. They didn't care about us. The modification, that we were trying to... God took care of us, though. God took care of us. But again, could he have erased it all? Absolutely. But I'm so grateful for the journey that he took us on even after that. And that journey was to continue the work. Continue to work. Not let that miracle be wasted on us, but continue to do the work and continue and develop a heart to help others, right? We could have been like, oh, we got our miracle. We're going to pay this off and we good. No, our heart led us to make sure we share with other people. I hope that you make the decision that you need to make for yourself to be a better steward, to learn what it is that you need to do, the steps that you need to take, who you need to reach out to help. Might be me, it might not be me, but I am willing. I am willing to help those who desire my help. I'm here for it. Anyway, y'all have a good night. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time for part 5. Yes, part 5. All right.